Another episode of Stand
How come
Up.
he didn't say take one?
No, action. He said action.
But he didn't say take one with the clapboard.
Welcome to another episode of Stand Up Memories. Jackie the Joke
The last episode, Joey was in the middle of a sentence, and we're going to see if he could come in. This is our guest. What's our guest's name?
Joey Kola.
What's he do?
He's a comedian. He's a warm-up comic. He's
a
an
poet.
actor.
Walrus. He's a poet.
Let's
see if he can come in right where he was.
If you weren't one of my idols, I would come over there and just kiss you on the lips.
But you can't get out of that couch.
No, I really can't. I'm kind of stuck here like this now.
Now, Joey,
and I can't run away from him.
No, you can't.
So
at the end of our last episode, Joey promised us a story. I love it, and I want to hear it.
Where was I? The story of what I just told you, the fishing story with the guy with the knife with the fisherman
right. You've been
who chased
through
us.
a lot.
But like we're talking about how comedians can get sidetracked by either the audience, the heckling and this and that. Recently, there was a girl who had a bottle thrown at her, a beer can thrown at her at the club.
That's horrendous.
About political stuff or whatever.
Right.
And I know that club. I work it all the time. It's a great club.
But and there's never been anything.
Nothing like that. It's that person. Well, that's to bring your own booze, so you can drink a bottle or whatever you want, and then you throw.
But what was interesting about that, I hate talking about that event, was I don't even know if she said anything political. The guy said, "I could tell by your jokes."
That's right. That's
you
how
voted
scary
for Biden.
that was.
It wasn't that
she said nothing. No,
Trump stinks or somebody stinks. It's like maybe
they accused.
Yeah, I had that
nothing,
once, but the politician I was accused of voting for was Hubert Humphrey. I've been in this business for so long.
Way.
The only thing I talk about political in my act is the mayor's wife of Port Jefferson,
which I have to say is probably relatively safe.
Yeah, that's pretty safe.
You know, I talked about it in the show already, but there was a show in '79 or so, out in the middle of nowhere, and I had this guy Jerry Dinnerstein. Jerry passed away.
Yeah, I knew him.
But he was on stage, and there was a motorcycle guy, and he said, "Look, we got a Hell's Angel here," and the guy wanted to kill him, and not because he pointed him out, but because he called him a Hell's Angel, but he wasn't a Hell's Angel. He was the other. What's the other group? I don't know. The
Pagans.
He was a member of the Pagans. Like, how dare you? You know.
Yeah.
I'm not a Jew, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm proud to be a motorcycle gang.
You
got to get the right gang.
I hid Jerry in the back seat of my car. It's the greatest, you know.
I was in a gang called the Flaming Dukes. It was just the two of us. There was the Duke, and I was flaming. Sorry to bother you, gentlemen. Continue.
Jackets? So, but what were you leading to? You had a red hot story.
I'm just saying how, when you write your act and you get on stage, even if you're seasoned, you can be sabotaged in so many ways. Not just the audience, or not just a club owner, or not just weather or whatever, but your own body could. Like recently I had 2 stents put in and I had some heart issues, so I was on beta blockers. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it slows down your heart rate and brings your blood pressure down so you don't have a massive heart attack.
I hope you're taking notes, all you older people.
Yes. Is that what caused this?
Well, this is what happened. I was on beta blockers after I got my first stent, and I went to me and Richie Byrne, comic Richie Byrne, drove up to a gig. It was a YMCA, but it was a 500-seater up in New Jersey. Yeah. And it was for Bobby Gonzo, who books 1,000,001 Nighters, and Mike Marino came in because he was on the East Coast and just hanging out, wanted to hang out with us as a comic hang. And he said, "You mind if I MC the show?" And he's a headliner. Sure, MC the show. He goes, "I'll do 10 minutes up front, and I'll bring Richie up. I'll do 10 minutes in between. I'll bring you up." Yeah. It's a bunt. You know what I mean? It's a home run. It's easy. So I had been about 8 days not taking the beta blocker, not knowing that it was also a psychological drug that played with the brain too. Metropolol is what it was called. So
you didn't have to wean off it?
I found out later.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I was taking less and less, and then I just stopped it, and I figured it was a little dose. It was 25 milligrams or whatever. But anyway, I get on. Mike Marino does his thing. Richie Byrne. We all had to just do a half hour. It was easy. It wasn't even like come see Joey Kola. It was like it's a bunch of comedians. They don't know, and it's an audience full of EMS, EMTs, cops, firemen, all of them. Right?
Great audience.
Big buffet in the back. The baskets for the raffles. 500 people. Lights. A lighting bar. Sound all over. It was magnificent. And So, ladies and gentlemen, Joey Kola, get on stage, and I'm doing stand-up 42 years now. So at this point, I've been doing it 39, 40 years, and I get on stage, and hey, how's everybody doing? How are you doing, everybody? How's it going? How's everybody doing? We're doing great. Do your act, idiot. Yeah, well, all right. How you doing? Just forgot my act completely. Now, Gonzo, Richie Byrne, Mike Marino, Danny C, who was they're yelling my act to me. They're going, do the cat noise, do your mother doing this, do your wife, do the dog poop bit, do this bit, do that bit. And I'm going, guys, I got nothing. It was
But you weren't feigning or anything?
No,
like
they
just...
At first they thought I was having a stroke. So some of the EMTs ran to the side of the stage. Danny C comes up, gives me water. But right away, Mike Marino came right up and goes, he's having a problem. Maybe he's got the flu or something because it was in the winter.
Yeah.
Let me go up and do it. Luckily, Mike Marino is hosting, and he's a headliner that's got an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So he goes, I'll finish it up. He goes, he gave it a shot. He wasn't feeling good. They gave me water. I came off. I knew everybody where I was around. I could make it fair. I was fine, but I just forgot my act because I came off those beta blockers so quick. It's called a transient global amnesia episode, which is the nightmare of every comedian. Tell me it's not.
It's every performer. You have a dream that the curtain opens up and you don't know what you're supposed to do.
Now I'm going to have that. I know it.
You're not going to have
it.
it.
You're scaring the heck out of me.
You're not going to have it. You're not going to have it.
But it's funny how your memory works, because as they were carrying you off, Joey yelled, am I still getting paid?
That's right. No, I said, give them my money. Actually, you're so funny. I said, give my money to Mike Marino. And then we got in the car. I drove because I was fine. Within 15 minutes, I did my whole act twice on the way home to Richie Byrne. It came back to me. So that was.
And then he took out his phone and he dictated an apology letter.
Yes,
an apology letter to the catering hall.
The mayor of Port Jeff's wife.
That's a scary one.
Joey does a classic impression. I don't know if you know this, but a while ago you did the warm-ups for Martha Stewart.
Joey. I was with her the other day, as a matter of fact. She was a guest on the Drew Barrymore show. Well, now I got it down to where, Rachel Ray does 3 shows a day, and it's very taxing. And my doctor pretty much said, you want to die in front of the audience, or you want to bring it down? So I had to sell my snowblower, and I'm 61, so I'm bringing it down a little bit, you know? So I do 2 shows at Rachel Ray, but when she's doing 3 shows, Tom Kelly fills in for me, and I do Drew Barrymore now. And she just had Martha Stewart on the show recently, and I hadn't seen her in a long time, about 12 years, I guess, Joey, my warm-up artiste. Joey, come over and stir my soup. Joey, come over here and clip the leaves off the... But she was happy to see me, and it was great.
Is that her, or is that her getting older, or is that just her, the way she carries herself?
No, that's her. She loved me. Luckily, she's a perfectionist, and the show was like that. But I was like her little sidekick. She put me on a lot, and then she was, I used to call her, my nickname for her was the playful sophisticate. Because she was very sophisticated, yet she was playful. If you knew how to just get under her skin, and I did, she was playful with me. So one day we come in and we're rehearsing, and there's a yoga lady on. And the yoga people like to stand on their heads for whatever reason. So she brings this metal piece that you put against the wall, and if you grab it and put your head in it and you let your legs come up, you're upside down against the wall. So in rehearsal, the lady said, Martha, why don't you rehearse? No, I'll wait till we're live. Live at 11 o'clock on NBC in the morning, right? So the show comes, we're live, that segment comes along, and she knew she was doing this from rehearsal. She goes, all right, this is what you're doing. If you want to stand on your head, the blood rushes down and it gives you blah, 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 blah. But, so Martha, go do it. Oh, I'm not doing it. Joey, come over here and stick your head. So on live television, I got to get on this thing, and I'm all fat. My shirt's hanging upside down. I got white socks on, and my khakis are all over. My face is red as a beet, and it was the most, my glasses fell off. I'm sweating, I'm spitting. It was the most disgusting thing.
Did you get up there?
I got up. I was doing, Martha came over and she was holding my legs up. She was laughing so hard that she goes, we'll be right back. And there I am upside down. But she did that, stuff like that to me often.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
But you probably made a measurable difference in the show, the audience response, because you were the warm-up guy.
Well,
And you deserve credit for that.
Absolutely.
You-
Yeah,
you know,
warm-up guy
sometimes
doesn't
it's-
do that, you know.
the only time a person's coming to a TV show. Sometimes it's their only time, and the only time they're going to get. Because with Drew Barrymore, we get people from all over the world. Rachel Ray, these people, you know, I've been waiting my whole life to come meet Rachel Ray or see Rachel Ray. So you know, I like to make it a great experience for these
Yeah.
people. Listen, when I'm doing stand-up and we're doing stand-up, it's our show. It's a mic and a stand, a mic and a light, 200 seats, a low ceiling, and that's where we live. But when I'm warming up a show, it's not my show. I'm one small, you know, cog in the
It's
wheel.
your job to point at her and
Yeah. Well, or make it, set the audience up to where she's going to shine. I'm the rodeo clown. I'm going to give
Tee
it,
it up.
ladies and gentlemen, Jackie Martling. Are you ready to see Jackie? Are you ready to see Pete? Yeah. And I set them up for you guys. On the weekend, it becomes my show. You know.
I got that.
I think also you're reminding, or at least telling people, they come in, people are intimidated. I remember going as a little kid to these shows. You don't know that you're supposed to applaud and clap and react.
You don't know.
You know,
Yeah.
for all you know, you're just supposed to shut up and watch.
I'm
you know.
a living applause sign. You know, back in the 50s, they hit a button and the applause sign
Yep.
went, and everybody just did this.
Right.
But now I'm like known as the granddaddy of warm-up guys. I'm doing it 29 years now. Next year will be 30 years, and because you know. It's got to translate across the screen. Those 200 people or 100 people or 60 people, whatever it is, they've got to react in a way that the people at home could hear it. So loud applause,
Yep,
medium
yep,
applause, now you're amazed.
yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
laugh, a puppy, aw.
Yeah.
So when they see me physically doing that
Yeah.
stuff, they do
Yeah,
it. It translates, and when the home audience is at their dining room kitchen table and they hear laughter, they're like, what are they laughing at? Boom,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. So you got to make that no matter who the host is. You got to make it palatable for the home audience.
And you probably don't get the credit you deserve, because I know you're terrific. I've seen you do it.
Well, you know, if you get your name in the credits, which they promise you, they don't really do that much. But listen, I get paid. It's a union thing. I got a pension and benefits. And Rosie, you know, Rosie was the best. Rosie
yeah.
O'Donnell, I can't say enough about Rosie O'Donnell. She gave me a boat at the end of the show, which was on television, and it's on my webpage and Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But Rachel's very generous to me. The pay is good, and you know, I'm not supposed to really be seen. I'm not supposed to get caught on camera unless you want to do a segment with me like Rachel does. Rachel has me on the show a lot.
Yeah.
As a warm-up guy. Martha called me a warm-up artiste.
Yes.
But our
And you
warm-up
become
guy
a
is
character on the show, and it's a whole great
yeah,
thing.
and there's a few warm-up people in LA and here that both get credit for that, you know, and you learn a lot from doing that, about how to wrangle. You got to be clean, you know, for that, and then if you want to be dirty on the weekends, then that's all me again.
Oh, well, that's terrific. Now, I want to go back in time, Joey.
Right.
We've known each other so long. I had a chance to
42
meet.
years.
Yeah, I had a chance to
I hate
meet
that anything's 42
both both your parents. I should
Yes.
say your mother
Yeah.
and your father.
You knew both, yeah.
I did.
They were both fans.
And
of
now
yours.
you are part Italian and part German.
half German, half Italian. You want to take over the world, but I want to eat first.
Yes!
Come
Very good.
I had to think twice about giving
Come
that up.
on! All right.
Come on!
Now, I'm a pro. No problem. Okay, thank you.
What are you
we'll
doing?
edit that out. Now, I knew both your parents.
I
They
thought
were-
he was pulling out a picture of
They
you
were
and your
both
parents.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, half German, half Italian. This is a heavy story.
Yes.
I've given you grief about it, and I felt guilty because it's a
Right.
tough situation you were in. Do you know what I'm driving at?
Are you talking about the name?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew originally Joey Kola.
Koehler,
L-E-R.
not Kola.
Now, after a show at Pips, you went out to eat with a bunch of comics, and I think a very famous comic who got on your case.
One comic.
One comic.
Yeah, one
Listen to
comic.
listen to this.
For having
He,
that name or
You're
for
not going
changing
You're not
your
going to
name?
believe this. You're not
I
gonna
really
believe
don't believe it.
I don't think only close comics. I mean, I might have told you before, but you might have forgotten. I don't know. But Pete, you remember this? I was the house MC at Pips for almost 3 years. George Schultz owned Pips, and was Marty Schultz was the
George
son.
Schultz was a comedian in the era of Lenny Bruce and Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Before there was Heaven and Earth.
Yeah, and
Right.
he had, it was called Folkways Cafe on Emmons Avenue in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn.
Yep.
And it was the first comedy club in the country.
Yep.
And it started with Joan Rivers, Steve Landisberg, Robert Klein,
Yep.
Dangerfield. All of them worked it. All of them. And it got
Yes.
down to Seinfeld, too. Because Seinfeld, even though he's from Long Island, jumped to Brooklyn, jumped to the city, and he went off that way. That was his path.
Yep.
So I was very good friends with George Schultz, Marty Schultz the son, and Seth Schultz the son also. And Seth did a documentary about the show Pips, which ran on HBO, which I saw, which inspired me to do stand-up comedy, to go to Pips and do that. Now, when I was on Long Island doing Your Club or Dixon's or East Side, Pete told me at a very young age, when I was hanging out with John Bizarre and a bunch of young comedians that we idolized him, and you at that point, but you were already with Stern and you were already coming up here. But Pete was.
I like to stay where I started.
I don't know.
No, you did.
I don't know who Pete is.
Peter.
That would be me.
Yeah,
Oh,
him.
Peter. Oh, I thought I didn't know you were.
Yeah, that's me.
I thought this part of the
That's
group
me.
that was heralding you.
It was the guy.
You were part of the group that was heralding you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you call him co-host now. Co-host. So you did the strip, and
Yeah, comic
we
strip.
were all afraid. We were scared out of our minds. What about the strip? What's going on at the strip? Do we go to the city? Do we do this? Do we do that? And you said, if you want to expand, you got to go to the city sooner or later. I happen to be at the strip, but however you guys want to go in, and I saw this documentary about Pips, and I was going in there. So anyway, I went in there, and I started out with a bunch of you. Richard Jenny was there, and he took me under his wing.
How
and-
early on was Seth's documentary? That had to be
79,
77,
80,
78?
79, 80. Yeah, like that. Maybe 78. I don't know.
I've never even heard of that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
it's great.
I never saw it.
Yeah, you know who inspired me that was on it a lot? Wolfberg. Dennis Wolfberg.
The late
When he
Dennis
did the
Wolfberg.
Oatmeal hitting himself in the face.
Yep.
Do you remember he did a bit about
Of course.
eating the oatmeal?
I believe it was yogurt, but I
Yogurt,
continue.
maybe yogurt, whatever it was, he was hitting himself in the face. And I thought to myself, wow, that guy is funny. Then Seinfeld was on, but Seinfeld was virtually unknown at that point. But it was at that point, Robert Klein was it for everybody.
He was king
I
of
don't
the
know if
hill.
a lot of people know that. I mean, then it was Leno and Rich Jenny, and you had your situation going on where everybody wanted to be you guys. But at that very early point of the 70s, when you went into the strip or whatever, or Catch, it was Ronnie Shakes, it was Ron Darien, it was Abby Stein, it was them. But Klein was it. Klein was it for everybody, even the higher level.
Including me, including Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody's
So-
working at those clubs, but that was one of the things.
Yeah.
Like if David Brenner or Robert
Well,
Klein
that's what I'm
walked
gonna
in,
get to.
Here we
it was
go.
Like, whoa,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Watch this.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So Brenner was there too, and Brenner and Klein were like this, and you'd see Landisberg every once in a while, but Brenner and Klein were at the Brenner and Klein are at Catch. Brenner and Klein are here. Brenner and Klein are here. And George Schultz managed David Brenner.
Yeah.
So whenever
I never knew that.
yeah, whenever business was slow, and I knew this through Ray Garvey, who eventually owned Pips and was the doorman there and stuff. So whenever business was slow, George would say, "Dave, can you do a night at the club? Sell it out. I need some cash." So he would do that. So one night, because I was the house MC, I got to MC. It was me MCing, a singer, local Italian singer, would sing, and then David Brenner went on and did 45 an hour, and it was a great night. It was, I guess, late 80s,
Probably mid. It was pretty early on.
Yeah, my mother's situation happened in 86, so this happened to happen probably like 84, 85. So we all had a great night. They all made money. Everybody did well.
George Schultz was still alive in '85.
Yeah, but he didn't. So then Marty says, let's all go next door to Joe's Clam Bar, which was the place, and let's go eat. Big artichokes, clams,
The whole
everything.
deal.
And it was after hours, but we knew the owners, so they left it open for us. One big round table in the middle of the place. It's 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So I come sit down. The singer is next to me. Seth is here. Marty, and then David Brenner walks in. David Brenner's right next to me. And then Marty walks in to sit down. We're already sitting down. We ordered appetizers and have a drink. And then those two come in because they're closing up the club, right? So they come in and sit down. And I did really well that night. So Brenner was on. When you're with another comic and the comic does well, not that I want to put a feather in my cap, but he was very interested in what I was saying and what I was doing. And I came up with a lot of energy and stuff. So he leans into me, sits down, leans into me, and he goes, what are you? And I said, what do you mean, what am I? So he goes, I want to know what you are. Like, who are you? Who are your parents?
From whence do you come?
Yeah. What are you? I said, well, I'm an American. I come from Long Island, and my family's from Brooklyn, and this and that. He goes, I want to know what you are. What are your nationalities? Like, what are you? And I said, well, what does that matter? I was trying to get away from it because I didn't want to say German, So I said to him, I'm half German, I'm half Italian. That's it, but I'm mostly Italian. I grew up mainly on the Italian side of my family, but my father was German, so I'm half and half, and it set him off. First, he teed off on the Italian. He goes, oh yeah, you're Italian, right? So he goes, do you know who Mussolini was? Do you know what they did to Mussolini?
So this didn't set him off with doing jokes. This set him off
angry. Then he goes, do you realize that you have relatives that could have killed my relatives in the Holocaust and this and that? And he went off on it.
And he wasn't being funny?
No, not at all. To the point where the singer and Seth were trying to divert the conversation. Okay, guys, what do you want to eat? Like, pick another. And he goes, I don't even know if I'm eating. I don't know if I'm sitting next to it.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So...
It's a great story, but it's crazy.
He goes, you know what? I'm not hungry. Like this. So the waiter comes over, Mr. Brenner, what? Yeah, I don't want anything. So he puts his menu down, he sits, and then Marty stands up. And like Marty's kind of looking at me like, what did you say to him? Like what? And I said, I didn't say anything. He's just asking me who I am. So he went off on my German background, my Italian background, and he said, I'm not hungry. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get back to the city. So he leaves, and Marty walks him out. So we're there, and Seth Schultz was very kind of quiet, and he didn't like confrontation at all.
Right. Yeah.
So he was just like looking at his menu going, oh, I guess he's not going to order then. So,
right.
Like that, we try to make light of it.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later, Marty came back and said, I'm sorry, man, I don't know what happened. It set him off. But he said, you know what, you're never going to, when he was there yelling at me, one of the things he says was, you're never going to make it in this business. You have a German last name.
You didn't set this up. At that point, what was your name?
Joey Kola, Koehler.
So at that point, it wasn't Kola yet.
No, it wasn't Kola.
Oh, okay.
So he said, you're never going to get work in this business. He goes, you're funny, but that's only going to get you so far. And he went off. And
helping you.
Well, I don't think he wanted to help me at that point, but it did. So what I said, this guy, to get him that mad, he's got to be passionate about what he's saying. There's got to be something to it.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, I'm changing my name now. They misspell it anyway. They go, it was Koehler, but sometimes they spell it in the paper, Koehler, like the toilet bowl or the sink, like
whatever they want.
E. coli or Joey E. Kola. They would always mess it up. So I figured if I just go, people used to call it Cola anyway, but they think it's Cola. Let me make it Kola. If anything, they think I'm Hawaiian with Kola. So it's 4 letters. Joey Kola. It flows.
It's
Let
easy.
me try this. It's easy. The only other thing that got mad, my father was like, you're not going to use that name because so I was like, Dad, I got to change my name. I mean, John Wayne changed it. He was marrying Michael Morrison. It was John
Every
Wayne.
one of them.
Every one of them changed their names. I said, Dad, you can still hear Joey Kola, but I'm changing it because I don't want anybody to preconceive who I am. I don't want anybody to judge me for my name.
Meanwhile, you think it's so deep,
Yeah.
probably 2 nights before, a German guy stole one of Brenner's broads or something.
That might have been deep-seated, though. Brenner was prejudiced, but he might have been right as far as your showbiz career is concerned. And so it was the right decision to change your name.
So I changed it.
Who else might be prejudiced in this world? There are a lot of prejudiced people. We don't have time in this episode to mention them all, but we're going to mention them all in our next episode of
Stand-Up Memories.
with our guest,
Joey Kola.
starring who?
I'm Peter Bales, and this is Jackie the Joke Man.
Thank you for tuning in. Catch us again next week. Joey will be continuing that story, many stories, lots of stories. Say goodnight, Pete.
Good night, everybody. Hey, a new episode of Stand Up Memories every Wednesday.
How exciting is that?
Starring me, Peter Bales, and right here, Jackie the Joke Man Martland.
Please follow us on social media. Search it out. What is it? MeSpace?
MySpace,
Your space?
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Doodah, doodah.